Don't know what you're talking about. Not a clue. You lost me. Oh, thank you. My mother gave it to me. People here think I'm from New Zealand for some reason. All I gotta do is say, put another shrimp on the Barbie, and they'd be like, so let's wait a couple minutes, see if anybody comes in here. It's basically, I'm just testing out this little mini tripod that I got. The one I have is shot. I got another selfie stick that I can use that extends, and that one's shot. So I got no little decent selfie stick to set my phone up on. And this one's actually really nice because it has it's a it's a long tripod, but it's like a monopod with the feet, and then it's got a stick where you can move around and use it kind of like a stabilizer, and it seems to work pretty good. Plus, it's got a light, so I have a light on here. Let's see if it goes. That's low, medium, high. So not bad, and it wasn't expensive. It was pretty cheap, so can't complain. Hopefully, it'll hold up. Tomorrow's a big day in Hong Kong. Whether it's violent or not remains to be seen, but it's a big day. And you can really feel the tension. It's like people don't want to think about it, but they are thinking about it, and you can just feel it. It's like I said earlier, it's palpable. So, myself and two other guys are out. V, the big guy, myself and one other guy, we're out tomorrow, bright and early. And hey, Skip. And actually, this guy's an Australian. V is an Australian. Is he an Australian? I think he's an Aussie. Or he's a Brit. I can't remember now. I think he might be an Aussie, though. And he's been living here for 2 years. The other guy is from the UK. That's what it is. And he's been here for, I think, about 2 months. So I was planning on flying back on Tuesday, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to stay for a couple days because the last time I took off, the next day the place kicked off and I missed out. That's one way of looking at it. But I'm not going to. I want to stay as long as I can, and I want to be here for, assuming I have to come back, or I will come back. I want to be here. There's a human rights rally on the 8th of December, and I was talking to one guy, and we were like, wouldn't it be something? Oh, you're from Northern Ireland, so you can relate to this. I was comparing this situation and the way that the police are treating people as similar to Germany in the beginning, but maybe it's closer to Ireland. I don't know. I don't know quite as much about that situation as I do about here. Oh shit! I forgot to put it up. I just rendered a video. I should put it up right now. I rendered a video. It'll go up after I'm done with the stream. It's only about 3 minutes, and it just shows what's going on in the protests and how the people are coming out at lunch and protesting, and then how emotional it is for some people. You'll see it's really, really emotional, And V actually told me that a couple guys he talked to, they're scared shitless. They don't want to live under the CCP. They don't want to live under the way that China lives now. They don't want to live that way. And they're scared shitless. They're going to have to sooner than later. So there is fear, there's apprehension, there's all these feelings of the people. And then you have the people who are pro CCP that, you know, they're telling the people to shut up, go back, you know, go back to your homeland, wherever it is you belong. You know, China is, we own Hong Kong. Hong Kong is part of China, and so there's just there's this gap that needs to be closed, and I know politicians are hoping that tomorrow may close that gap. I don't see it happening though, unfortunately. And it is unfortunate because there's some good people here. And one way or the other, and there's some good, you know, pro-Beijing people here. And I've met some of them. They look at it very matter-of-factly, and, you know, I think they overlook some things. But I think it goes both ways, you know. I just don't agree with the way that the police have handled a few things, and I don't think a lot of people do. And I think that's why they're getting support now. Hong Kong is getting support around the world. So, you know, again, like I said this morning, I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. And myself and a couple other guys, including V, were talking about how it feels like this is either going to be, it's going to be historic one way or the other, whether it's right now or in the future. But something's going to come about here that's going to have a huge effect on the world. Now, I don't know, you know. To me, it's all conjecture. We're all guessing. But maybe that's normal to do. I don't know. It's a bit of a, leaves me in a bit of a quandary, to be honest. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. Because, you know, when you see the police shooting tear gas, not only at you, but like kids and old ladies, and they just don't care. They're like, well, if you're walking around, too bad. It's a bit much. It's a bit overkill. And then the stuff that they're using is, you know, Chinese made now. There's no more, you know, I took some photos of stuff that was from Pennsylvania and looked it up on their website. And apparently that's no more. They're all out of stock. They're not getting any more, and they're just using the Chinese stuff. And they refuse to say what's inside of the, what it's composed of. And apparently it's, some of it's expired, it's nastier stuff. There's all kinds of rumors going on. So you don't really know what's true, what's not. And that's part of the problem for many people. Let's see, can I do this without it knocking it over? Yeah. So tomorrow's a very interesting day. We're going to be going, all three of us are going to be, three, maybe more, I don't know. There's going to be a group. We'll be going to like Bangkok, which is a hot spot. We'll be going to the new territories, Yuen Long and maybe Sun Mun, which is southwest Hong Kong, but not on the island. Those are places that are known as very difficult places. So we'll see what's happening, because the thing is that the government has called for people to come out very early in case there's protesters, and then they have to stop the voting, which would be, it wouldn't be fair either way, to be honest. So it's a weird feeling. That's all I can say. I really don't know how to describe it, but it's so strange and so surreal. I talked this morning about how I'm in the mall the other day and they're protesting, and they got the Greyhound Cafe, which they have in Thailand also. It might even be a Thai company, but they have people in there sitting and eating their. It's a fairly nice place. It's not a high end joint, but it's a nice restaurant. And they're sitting in there eating their food, and people are screaming, yelling at the top of their lungs about, save Hong Kong and stand with Hong Kong and all these things. And then today, I was talking to a guy about it, and he's like, "Yeah, like you can be out early evening at dusk, and there'll be people sitting in the restaurant drinking wine, eating their nice meal, and there's tear gas going off, and the cops are running running down the street, and these people are sipping their wine. It's the strangest feeling. I mean, it's not like you're out in the jungles of a country in Africa. It's urban conflict, and it's supposedly business as usual during the day. It seems like it. Companies are open, they're doing their thing. As soon as the guys come out with the tear gas, though, people start rolling down the shutters and they start closing everything up, and they just go inside. They don't want to be around it. And then the people who can't do that, they're just standing behind the glass windows just watching. So you got people watching from second, third floors, and they're looking down and they're waving at people, and it's like, it's a really odd feeling. And V said to me today, he said, I don't think anything could prepare us for this. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so either. It's really strange. Yeah, that's the only way I know how to put it. But anyway, we're going to go. We're going to, I don't know how much we're going to be able to take the train. We're going to go out, go to Bangkok, go to wherever is hot, and then we'll probably go to the new territories. Maybe we'll go to Kowloon, go roaming around for the day. And hopefully we'll be able to get around by train, but a lot of its stations are closed. They just close the station, that way nobody can get around. It's more difficult for the younger people to get around because a taxi's expensive. Which is why we're going with 3 people. Not only because strength in numbers, but also it cuts the cost of a taxi. So other than that, I mean, and a lot of people expressing how they feel about this situation. Not much has changed from this morning, but I am going to try to stream at least, no matter what, at least for an hour or something like that. It's what time is it? It's 9:40. Yeah, 9:40 in the evening on Saturday. It's Saturday night, and actually, where's my other phone? I don't know where it is. I have to look. I have to find it. The only yeah. The only thing about the room being small is that there's never enough room. You can't just like set some stuff in one area, other stuff in another area. You put your suitcase down, well, and well, I'll show you guys. You don't really want to see it, but let me see if I can do this. All right. There's the suitcase. There's shoes. That's 6 bottles of water. And that's the door. That's it. So, there is enough room, but it's not like there's ample room and you can, throw some stuff over in a corner and it's not going to bother you. In this one, you throw some stuff in the corner and you can't get into the bathroom. And I'm not complaining again. Hey, Aubrey. Yeah, what's happening? The other thing is tomorrow, as much as I don't want to, I am going to bring my vest with me. Because you just never know what's going to happen. And you know, the other day, yesterday, when I went to this Exchange Square, seemed nobody really was wearing their helmet or their mask or anything. There was nothing like that. Very peaceful. And then all of a sudden, the fight broke out between these ladies and then the people, the men that were with them. And before you know it, the cops were there, and they're like, they've got the flags out that say they're going to shoot tear gas. Well, they didn't have them out, but they had them. They were carrying them. And I'm like, oh man, I don't have my gear here. If I don't get out of here quick, when they shoot the tear gas, I'm going to be in trouble. So I don't want to be in that position again, and I certainly don't want to be in that position if they whip out their rifles. Or I think they're also carrying handguns, and that's what supposedly they're going to use. But from what I've been told, they have snipers out, especially in some of the areas in the new territories, so that if need be, you know, they can do away with some people that are causing issues with the voting. They don't want to, you know, I don't blame them. Even the kids, the protesters were saying that, hey, we have the right to vote and we need to vote no matter what. You cannot delay this. You cannot postpone it. You cannot cancel it. You cannot do anything. We have the right to vote. So, you know, they're adamant about that, but they're also adamant about 5 demands. They want their 5 demands met. And, you know, so there's no negotiating. And when there's no negotiating, it's very hard to win. You know, especially in their situation. So it's a complicated issue. There's still some kids left in the Poly University. And, you know, I've heard various people saying that there's nobody there anymore. There are people there. There are journalists there. You know, but I've heard, oh, there's nobody there anymore. There's barely any cops. And, you know, no, that's not how it is. The journalists are there, and I know because I went, and it seemed like, wow, there's nobody out except the cops. There's a cop on a corner, and then on the next corner there's a cop, and, you know, anywhere where you can get in and pass through maybe, there's cops there. Yeah, well, you know, it would be nice to see them come out unscathed. I mean, they are kids. Say what you will about what they're doing, pick whatever side you want, but they are kids, and you know, what really strikes me is that I tell you the one story that I've been telling people, and it sticks with me, is the kid who said, "I'm 17, I don't have a mother and father, and if I lose Hong Kong, I'm losing everything. I don't have anything left." And I just think, well, that's, my kid is 17 and 18, you know, my kids. I'm like, can you imagine having a kid like that who's going, hey, I got nothing. He's got his whole life ahead of him. But that's how he feels. But, you know, I did go on the campus. It's just too difficult to get in. The cops don't, you know, it's very, very difficult to get into where the students are. And I'm sure they're not in the most pleasant mood. They don't exactly want to talk to reporters and you know. So it's a long ways away. And there's a lot of people that, well, there's not all that many media there. I would say there's probably, when I went, there was about maybe 20 or 30 altogether. So not that many. But you know, inside, there was a girl that was inside, a woman that was inside. She came out after like 6 days in there. and she said there was less than there was a couple of dozen, maybe less. That's what she said. That's how many are left. Six people, six anti-government protesters. That's what I'll refer to them as now. They escaped through a manhole that went through the sewer. That's how they got out. But they did get out. But that, they were willing to they were willing to swim through shit to get out because they didn't want to deal with the police. So, I've heard a lot of people saying, I've told them, listen, the police have generally been nice to me, except for when they were in the riot situation where I got pepper sprayed a few times. They're shooting tear gas. Some of the times I understood why they did it. I understood that, they have to deal with the situation, but some of the times it was just blatant that either they were poorly trained or they just didn't care or they had orders from somebody and for whatever reason they did it. But I've had a couple of officers that were pretty pleasant with me, very nice, and they talked to me for 5-10 minutes. And I asked them about the situation. But then when I talked to Hong Kongers about it, they said, yeah, listen, those people are being nice because they feel like maybe they have to. They have to be nice to you. Because if they're not, there's going to be a problem. I'm like, well, don't expect anybody to come saving me. Because I doubt President Trump's going to say, we've got the lone American. He's been locked up in a Hong Kong prison or shipped off to China. I don't think they're going to be saving me, So, and then I did get a message today that somebody got, well, actually I talked to a guy. He's the guy I talked to. He's nearby, he works at a store, and I talk to him all the time. Young guy, but very in tune with what's going on. He told me that an American was arrested today. He goes, I thought it was you. No, it wasn't me, man. But he thought it was me, and I thought it was Michael Yon. But apparently this was somebody yelling and screaming at somebody outside the subway or whatever. And I said, well, if he wasn't yelling at the cops, then it wasn't related to the protests. So who knows? I've been saying that a lot. Who knows? Time will tell. We'll find out. Yeah, I'm speechless. From going, I've been in some slums and been in some difficult situations in my life. I've been in some difficult areas in the world. And this is a nice place. I mean, there's great food, great transportation. They got their act together. They're sharp. They're friendly. They're polite. I mean, it's a great place. But it's still a conflict area. It's slowly morphed into that. Let's see here. Is the situation calm now compared to before? Yes, it's calm. It's like the calm before the storm. Well, thank you there, our cats. I'm going to try to stay safe. I always do. Yeah, the dim sum is fantastic. I like it. The 10 Hong Kong dollars dim sum for 10 pieces. It's great. And now the people that work there, when they see me, they say, "Oh, you'll go out now, or you come back in now? You go out?" So they know they know I like their dim sum. The calm before the storm. After watching the protests unravel for months, this so-called leaders movement does nothing to address the bills. Actually, I have to disagree. And the reason I'm disagreeing is because if you think about it, they're in a situation that, as one person told me today, you can't win. They cannot win. And I said, So what are you going to do? You're just going to give up? No, I can't give up. I said, well, then you stop thinking that you can't win. And you start trying to figure out a way that maybe you can win, or that you can come out better than you went in. And so they have their demands that they want met, and some of them I think are quite reasonable. Um, do I agree with the passing? Well, they did it. Do I think it's a good thing? I don't know. It could be. I think Trump is probably a lot smarter than some people are giving him credit for. If you remember that he wrote the book literally. Now, good or bad, whether it's just a book where he's talking smack or not, he wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. He's constantly thinking, since he's been young, of negotiating deals, making deals. So for me, this is his ultimate test, his ultimate deal. If he's smart, he uses Hong Kong as a bargaining chip. Somehow he needs to figure something out to where these people are guaranteed their autonomy and their rights. That's a tall order, to put it mildly. And yeah, that's a tall order. How's he going to do it? Who knows? No, it's not. And as one guy told me, and he was a guy from, I don't know if it was Beijing or whatever. Well, I do think that, yeah, they really stepped on it when if it's going to be a good thing, they did it as quickly as they probably could. Well, I don't disagree with that. And Hong Kong, it has something to do with the United States, not only the United States, but the rest of the world. It has a lot to do with the world. People don't think of it, but it does. And I was talking to Soy Dog Cowboy today about how Iran shut off the internet. And I was like, wow, if they shut off the internet here, people would not be able to pay with credit cards. I think that's ridiculous, John. I think it's ridiculous. That's a perfect example of one country, one system. That's China giving the middle finger to the high court. That's their way of giving them the finger. So, as this one person was telling me, how can we win? Well, if everybody thought that way, then you would never even get off the ground. You would never even start. There has to be a way. Now, you could think of it this way, that pressuring the United States senators and the President of the United States and the House to pass this bill could be a very good thing. It could be something that Trump uses in his negotiations with Xi. I don't know, what's he going to do? I don't know. This is the thing. That's why he's president and I'm not. And, when I think about it, I'm like, well, I don't have all that much experience in this kind of stuff. I'm not really into politics. But because of this situation, I've been given a crash course. Same with Hong Kong. I came to Hong Kong, and I've never been here. This is my third trip. And, like I said, I was supposed to go back on Tuesday. I'm not going to go back. I want to stay as long as I can. Not because, I love being here, because it's a drain, physically and mentally. I don't think that they look at it that way. I think that if it gets them to where they want to be, I don't really think they care, to be honest, because I think they'd rather be beholden to the United States than beholden to the CCP. I don't know what you're talking about, Colton Murphy. There's a lag, so, you know, sorry. And, you know, you guys can disagree with me, and you can disagree with other people. You can have your own opinions. That's fine. Listen, that's all it is. It's an opinion. It's nothing more. Because you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And that's why a lot of people are, especially in Hong Kong, are worried about what's going to happen next. So. Boy, you're asking me all these questions. Do you think the chief executive and all the others? Well, yeah. Why should they be? Why shouldn't they be? You know. But see, the way that it is with the CCP is that they need to make sure that Hong Kong remembers that it's part of China. But they do remember. They don't have a problem. You see, they don't have a problem with being part of China. They have a problem with being under the CCP. And also, they don't want their independence, and many in China, they have no way of knowing anything other than Hong Kong is fighting for its independence. That's what they're being fed by the government and by the state, That's what they're being fed. So all they know is Hong Kong's fighting for us for their independence, and America is against it. It's not xenophobic. That's not what you would call it. It's not xenophobic. They're sick and tired of. Let me just tell you one thing. 150. Hold on. Let's just. Your special needs. Oh well. You know what, Colton? I don't know who you are, and to me, you're just a troll. So goodbye. I don't feel like dealing with you right now. Because if I say I don't know, I don't know. If you got a problem with that, too bad. Okay? What do you think of Beijing saying this? Well, come on. This is a pattern. It's America against us. They're fighting our system. They don't like us. This is why they do these things. So everybody's against China. No, it's not everybody's against China. Most people are smart enough to realize Chinese people generally are decent people. Whether you like them being rude, some of them being rude or spitting or whatever it is they might do that might be irritating to people, they generally are decent people. On the times that I've been to China, the vast majority of the people have been extremely polite and friendly and nice to me. Okay, it's the government. It's the people who have the power. Let's see here. They don't even like to be recognized towards Chinese hobby or whatever your name is. It's not that they don't want to be recognized as Chinese. What it is they are of Chinese blood. See, I'm going to start stomping on you now because you don't know what you're talking about. Because I've been around these people now for long enough to where I've heard it a million times. It's not that they're not Chinese. They're proud to be Chinese, of Chinese heritage, Chinese blood. They're very proud of that. But they consider themselves Hong Kongers. They don't consider themselves to be under the CCP and Chinese in that respect. That's it. It's as simple as that. And that's why they say we are Hong Kong, not China. Doesn't mean they're not Chinese. Just like Taiwanese, many of them consider themselves, hey, we got Chinese blood in us. And then some of the people consider themselves to be Taiwanese. We're not, you know. So when you say these things, you're talking out your ass, okay? No one knows what happened, only when this happened. Do they know who was the source of this evil? What evil are you talking about? I'm not sure what evil you're talking about. You have to be a little specific. Do you think the U.S. government really wants to be friends with China? Ridiculous. And do you think the Chinese government really wants to be friends with the U.S. government? It's like Bob Arum and Don King. They don't want to be friends, but they'll do business together because of the money and because of the benefits that they receive. Simple as that. Moving on. See what I can come up with here. They don't, well, here's the thing. If they are, and I'll put it to you this way because this is how it was put to me by someone, and I thought about it and I thought, yeah, okay, I got it. She said, China has a habit of breaking their promises and breaking their agreements. They are breaking their agreement by their actions in the last couple of years, actually. They're breaking their promises. They're not sticking to the agreement. They're even calling the agreement, the British agreement, they're calling it a historical agreement, and that's all it is. They're saying it should be no longer valid. So they've already broken their promise. She's saying, listen, as Hong Kongers, we look at it this way. We were told we'd have autonomy until 2047. If we have a problem at 2047 where we don't like the way that we're living, we'll deal with it then. But we'll keep our promise. China's not keeping their promise. So why are they doing what they're doing when we were told and we have an agreement that says we're going to be granted these rights and this system and everything else? So in a sense, she is correct. Give them until 2047. Then in 2047, whatever happens then, it's going to happen. They said, listen, if we don't like it, we'll try to make a change. If we can't make a change, we can't make a change, but we're going to live up to our agreement. Now, everyone might not think that this is true. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody in Hong Kong. Wouldn't be the first time, what? Listen, everything, if you look at, I was just looking at something not long ago. It's on my phone, which I'm using right now. Every time there's a problem, Beijing or China, the Chinese government, gets caught doing something, they say that it's somebody else. Oh, it wasn't us. Now we're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to be able to fulfill this agreement because this other country, this other organization, agency, they fouled things up. So now we can't abide by it. No, that's bullshit. And to say, listen, I understand the CIA has been involved in some things. This shit goes on all over the world. If you think it doesn't, you're kidding yourself. Okay? But don't say that it's the United States and CIA is the cause of everything. It's horseshit. Oh, God. You know what? Cobby, I think you're a troll, too. Seriously. Thank you, Zero. Appreciate that. 1 second. I need some water. What time is it? Gulo, man. It's 10 o'clock. I gotta be up 5. Let's see if I can put a little more light on me. I just turned it off. Oh, that's the max. That must be because it's not plugged in. Oh, shit. Shoot. See if I can plug this in. No. There we go. Thank you, Zero. I have no idea what that currency is. No idea. What happened to my other phone? But thank you. I appreciate it. Gennaro, all right, yeah, I'm sorry I'm doing these and I'm not out, but it's I want to conserve my energy because this is for Icelandic. Wow. So you're in Iceland. Trip out, man. Cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I got about 3 minutes and I got to get out of here. I got to get set up, make sure I have everything ready for tomorrow. I did everything I had to do today. Let me tell you something. It cost me how much? What did she charge me? Was it 50 or was it 100? I think she charged me 100. I got the bill right here. $100. I should cover this up. $100 right here. She charged me 100 Hong Kong to sew a patch on my jeans, on the inside of my jeans. 100 Hong Kong, which is like $13. I was like, no, it's more than that. It's like, well, yeah, it's about $13. I was like, $13 to sew the patch? I was like, wow. In Thailand, they do that for about $2. So that gives you an idea. What else did I do? Laundry. Every time you go to a laundry, it's 60 Hong Kong, which is what? About $8.50, something like that. Which is not that bad if you're doing a big load of laundry. So, and I found this. I think I drank all his water at this pharmacy. It's $3 for a bottle, which is, again, what is that? 50 cents would be $4. So it's about 38 cents. So I'm buying from him because all the other bottles are $10. So I just buy them all up, and almost all of his water's gone because I've been buying them out every time that I come here. I go and buy 5 bottles, 10 bottles of water, and then they're gone before I leave. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for all the support, financial, for viewing, all the way around. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to bring what's happening here to people, around the world, and try to do it. I know that, I have my opinions and everything, but when I'm shooting photography, it doesn't matter to me what I'm shooting. I'll shoot the cops. I'll shoot the protesters. I'll shoot people on the street. I really have no favoritism when it comes to that. And when it comes down to it, for now, the way that things are set up, these are anti-government protesters, and the police, they may be considered out of control, but they're still the police. So there's a fine line on what's going on here. And what I was talking to my friend about earlier, I've never been there, Fidelity. It is a place that I would at some point like to go, just to check it out. What was I saying? What I was saying is that all it takes is the protesters to do one thing, or the police to do one thing that the general public, and I'm talking about outside of Hong Kong also, they view as terrible, and it could completely change things. So that's another reason why I think it's quiet now. I think the protesters may know, the anti-government protesters may know that the riots, the protests last, I guess, Monday and Sunday were extreme. When you start burning cop cars and coming close to burning a bunch of policemen, you start pushing the limit. And, I was thinking, well, why haven't they blown up police stations? But when you think about it, that wouldn't be very smart. Now, it might accomplish a goal in, like, wiping out a whole bunch of police and maybe their cars and their vans and all their other equipment. But there's other police stations. And once they do that, well, you know what? Since I got a press card, I beg to differ. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. Goodbye. I'll admit I'm not a announcer. I'm not somebody who goes on and speaks like on CNN. I'm not a presenter. I'll admit that. But when it comes to everything else, I've been doing it for a long time. So, you know, my what? My VAC? What's VAC? What's a VAC? I hope you're not saying it's a vacation. Because this ain't no vacation, pal. It's one of my buddies said to me, hey, my vacation. This is not a vacation. I can tell you that right now. Even the downtime is not a vacation. One of my buddies said to me, I guess you're having a lot of fun there. Actually, it was Chuck. I guess you must be having a lot of fun if you're still there. And I was like, you really think it's fun here? And you know, I've been talking to V and several other people, photographers, and people who aren't here, they just don't know. They cannot understand what's going on. And it's like I can't understand being in Iraq or Afghanistan and being in a tank. Well, they can't understand, most people cannot understand what it's like to having things shot at you that will kill you, maim you, or whatever it is. They have no clue. So, you know, say what you will, it really doesn't matter. End of the day, unless you know, you don't know. You know, you just have an idea, and that's it. Exciting. That's, well, it can be. I mean, the other day, what happened? Oh, just yesterday, when the people started fighting. There's videos out there. And yet haven't seen much footage of their parents. Oh, they're out there. But I'll tell you what they do a lot is the parents or the grandparents, they do a lot of things behind the scenes. They bring food, they buy stuff for the people, they give money, they donate money, they help in other ways. And some of the people come out, and you will see. I'm going to put the video up. It's almost 10:15. I'll be done here in the next 5 minutes or so. There's an old woman in this video, and she's screaming as loud as she can. And it's, to me, it was pretty emotional being there when, you know, well, yeah. I mean, in fact, I was talking to V about this, and he's carried, you know, V is a big dude. I mean, he's a big boy. Very big. He's not, you know, like, oh, he's pretty big. No, he's a massive dude. And he picked up 2 girls, and I don't mean picked up in the sense of, hey, I picked her up. He literally picked her up off the ground and carried her out of the tear gas. He didn't have to do that. People do that because it's the right thing to do. You want to help your fellow human being, you know. I mean, people have helped me. They've carried me away from when I got pepper sprayed. I've been in tear gas, and I've been coughing, and you know, literally down on my knees, and people have like helped drag me out. And you know, are you okay? Are you okay? Here's put this on your face, and you know, all these things. You put this in your eyes. They've given me saline solution. I mean, you know, they've done all kinds of things. If there's one thing I can say, is that every single photographer here, and probably much of the media, has been helped by people in Hong Kong. They've gone out of the way. And for instance, the video I'm putting up, it's all in Chinese. I have an idea, a little bit of what was said, because I've heard it over and over again. But I had a couple of people help me translate it. Now, they didn't have to do that. They took time out of their, one was working. Well, they were both working. They took time out and they helped me. I've been lost before, and I'm like looking around. Somebody just comes up and goes, "Are you lost? Where do you need to go? Let me help you." I mean, been picked up in a car by somebody. They were like, "Hey, you guys need a ride. We'll give you a ride. Wherever you need to go, we'll give you a ride." They are committed, and it's not just these young people; it's the older people also. So, it'll be strange because I saw that there's somewhere around 7 million people here, but only like 4.5 million will be voting. 2 million people approximately came out and protested. I don't know when, a couple of months ago. 2 million. There's probably more that support what's going on here. So, will that be reflected in the polls? Well, tomorrow night in Hong Kong, people will know, or they should know. So, I'm anxious to see that. And, it's interesting. It can be exciting. But, like the other day when these people were starting to fight and I ran up and there's people shoving and elbowing you and you're trying to get in and get to somewhere where you can just get like a clean shot and the cops are coming in and I was shaking. I told myself, just relax and squeeze the shutter because I was shaking. And, then afterwards I was like, man, that got my adrenaline going. Or when they're shooting tear gas at you and you're like running and you're going, oh, well, I need to stop for a second. Yeah, okay, it can be that way, but that's fleeting, I think it's just because, maybe because I'm involved in something that's important. I don't know. I really don't know I can't pinpoint it and say there's one reason why I really like being here, but it's not because it's fun. It's freaking hard work, and it's painful, at times, and you don't want to be there at times. I mean, you see people, you see things happen, you see the cops beating up somebody with a baton, and they're curled up and they're getting pounded on. I'd rather not see those things. That's not fun for me. It's not TV, you know what I mean? So, anyway, I'm going to put this video up. It should be up in by 15, 20 minutes. It should be up. So please watch it. Maybe it'll give you a little bit of insight. This is a daytime protest, which is very, very mellow. They tend to be more mellow during the daytime than they do in the evening. And they don't always stay peaceful. But fortunately, yesterday, nothing really serious happened. And they didn't have to fire tear gas inside this little area. And nobody was really hurt. So that's a good thing. So anyway, thank you all again. I don't know if anybody got any more questions, any legitimately decent questions. If so, let me know. Thank you very much. I always try to be safe. I'm always looking for the back door in case I need to get out, the trap door. Fortunately, I still have my mask, I have my helmet, I have a vest, I have pretty much everything I need to use. How long do I plan to cover the protest? As long as I have the money to stay here, I will, No, I mean, I've been here 3 times, so I've gone back to Bangkok, then flown back, stayed for a week, then flew back, then stayed for 10 days, then flew back, and I was supposed to just stay for a week, and now I'm like, I'm going to stay longer, and I'm just going to stay as long as I can. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay. It's expensive, And that's why I hit people up for donations. It's not that I like to do it, because I don't. It's one of my. If you want to talk about what's not fun, I'd rather be out there on the streets with the cops than nagging people or putting the word out there and saying, "Oh well, I'm like the PBS of YouTube. Can you guys help me out? Throw me a buck or two." I don't like doing that. I really don't. I never have. But if you're spending $100 a day, $150 a day, I can't do it personally on my own. So I owe a debt of gratitude to all the people that have helped me, because it's the people who watch. Most of them are regulars. Some of them are not. Thank you to the guy who started up on Patreon with me today. Really appreciate that. I don't believe he's ever commented. I don't know. I could be wrong. Never, introduced himself or anything like that, and just he did it, which is like really cool. I really appreciate that. So, in essence, the people who are helping me be here are helping me to show other people, including themselves, but other people, what's going on here, and how things are unfolding. So I like what I told, who was it? Oh, I told my friend today at lunch. I said, I like to stay here until there's resolution, until it ends. But it may not end for years. It may never end. There may be ongoing protests for years. Who knows? So I would say, at least in the near future, there is a thing going on, the Human Rights Rally. It's on December 8th, and I would like to be here for that. I don't think I'm going to stay all the way through, but, if I go back, it'll be for a couple of days to see the wife and kids and regroup. But I definitely want to be here for that, because they've already applied for the permit to gather, to organize this event. And I have a feeling it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. And all I can say is, can you imagine if the police started firing tear gas and rubber bullets and live ammo during a human rights rally? That wouldn't go over too well. So, although I don't think they'll do it, no, none at all, to be honest. None. I've had some people that, these were, I would say that mainlanders who would be, mainlanders such as people who are like cleaners, street cleaners, what do you call it? The ones who clean the toilets in the malls and stuff like that. Like the lady with the foot. Those people, they're not going to tell me their opinion and talk politics with me. Okay, they probably have a hard enough life. They're probably just happy to be here and have a good job. The people who are pro Beijing, I have spoken to, have all been very courteous and polite and nice, and tried to explain their take on things. They haven't been negative to me, because really all I'm doing is going out and taking photos, and while I am doing some streaming and shooting videos, I'm trying to show exactly what happens. Now, obviously there's always going to be a skew of some kind, but I'm trying to show just what happens. That's it, So what would if they really are intelligent, why would they be upset about that? On the other hand, most of the protesters everyone that I've come in contact with has been beyond courteous to me. And there have been student journalists, student photographers, photographers from even South China Morning Post, from the Apple Daily, from Stand News. There have been photographers from every organization that I bumped into, talked to for, one guy I've talked to for 2 or 3 times for 30 minutes each time. uh, they've been nothing but helpful, you know, because it benefits them, and you know, and it benefits people just to be nice to people, you know. I mean, like if you walk around being a prick to somebody for no reason, then you're just a prick. You know, if you're a prick to somebody because they're being a certain way to you that they shouldn't be, that's a different story. If you're countering them, and even that sometimes is unnecessary. But I mean, I've got so many stories now of Hong Kongers that have done things, and I've been, no, 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 you don't have to do that, you know. I don't know, it's okay. And they're like, no, I insist. You know, the one night they took us, it was, you know, they took, the people told us, oh, if you're gonna walk, that's gonna take you hours. If you take a car, it'll take you like an hour. I was like, what? Is that far away? And these people just, we were like getting ready to call a cab because this cab turned us down, and we were gonna have to call another cab. And these people were just happened to be right there, and they said, listen, we'll take you. I'm like, what, really? Yeah, yeah, we'll take it. And we had a nice conversation with them. We talked about everything. That stuff happens every day. Every day I get somebody walking up to me. I had a girl yesterday in the elevator telling me, she said, I stand with Hong Kong. Or maybe it was the day before yesterday. I stand with Hong Kong. Thank you so much. I was like, you know. But just even, you know, okay, certain photos get out, they get published, great. That expands things. Being on YouTube, talking about it, showing some videos, that expands it also. Throwing stuff up on Facebook, my photos, Instagram, that kind of stuff, expands it. It just, and there are probably thousands of journalists and photographers here, media personnel, and all these people are doing the same thing. So it's a wide-reaching network, and I think this is starting to have an effect. And then when you see what went on a week ago, almost a week ago, and then you got Trump ready to sign this bill, it's pretty big news, you know. So yeah, they've all been really good. I can't think of any that haven't been good, really. So they've gone above and beyond. And in fact, if there's any way, you know, for me to help all of them, you know, like in some way and give back something to them, I mean, maybe I am by being here and shooting photos and doing anything. But if there was any other way, I would probably try to do it, because I feel it's, these people are doing things that, it's almost to the point now where, like I was having lunch today with a guy, and we were speaking in hushed voices. We weren't speaking like I'm speaking right now, because we didn't want people to hear what we were saying. And when you get to that point, when you're talking about politics, which I'm sure that's how it is in the United States now, although I really don't know for sure, I think that the boundaries of freedom are starting to be infringed on here. So, you know, I don't know. But I have heard some people say, I don't know, you know, is it worth it? What's the matter with how they're doing things? And I get these kind of questions all the time, and I'm like, you know, I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because I know enough to get me in trouble. And that's the honest truth, you know. Which is why I like taking photos, because I know I have a decent idea of what photos to shoot. But do I really want to write about this or anything like that? I don't know, you know. To me, that's a bit dicey, because I don't know that I have the knowledge to write about what's going on here and what's most important, you know. But I'm sure I could, but I'd rather not, you know. So anyway, that's all I got. I'm going to put this video up. Let me finish it up, and I'll upload it. It should be finished right now. I just need to upload it. Should be up in the next 10 minutes or so. So thank you again. Until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Hong Kong. And tomorrow's a big day, so hopefully I'll stream at some point. Until next time, Choke D, Lel Jerk and Mai, or as they say here, bye-bye. Simple.